And all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Not Replaced Yet Office Hours. My name is Nick Bushkar. I'm here with Jesse, my brother, and this is the show that keeps you informed and inspired about AI, automation, all the things that are shaking up work in the world. And Office Hours, the whole point of this show is for you, the wonderful audience, to ask us questions. We are your personal AI consultants. Please, if you have any friends, family members, whatever, who have any thoughts, questions, comments, who want to just talk about the space in general, tell them to join. And please like, subscribe, share, and go to notreplacedyet.ai and sign up for the email list. That's super important. Jesse, what's going on today?
You know, it's a Thursday before a holiday, religious holiday, but also a schools closed holiday. So the kiddos are, getting like an early Friday, and that's nice. And I actually am unofficially taking the day off tomorrow, just because I didn't have any meetings scheduled. So I blocked it all off, and I am going to get caught up on all the work. You got to stop the work to do the work so that you have time to do the work.
Obviously.
And once that's done, there's work waiting on you. It's my life, and that's not. I don't say it as a complaint. It's just reality.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, and so I'm always excited about what AI can do to free up the busy work. It's the killing of busy work is one of the exciting parts of this revolution that's happening.
Let me ask you this: if you had to say, what is the one thing that has killed the most busy work for you? Not overall, or like, and very specifically, like what kind of busy work?
That's a good question. That's tough. A couple things come to mind that I would want to I will say I think I'm very early in the killing of the busy work. I don't think I've achieved much of what will be achieved from this, whether that's early. The tools are still early. We talk about it all the time how we're still at day zero, day one of this whole thing. We can't. It's really tempting to say oh, I missed something. I'm 2 years late to something, and that's just not the truth. If you're here and this is your first time, this is. Everybody has that. It's like going to the gym. You don't look down on people who are out of shape. They're at the gym. Good for you.
Sure.
So I don't know. For me, busy work wise, I have a bunch of agentic automations that run behind the scenes that I would otherwise have to do manually. That's more for marketing analytics, social media analytics that get pulled down and then categorized and things using AI. I wouldn't do it without it though. This was an upgrade to the services we offer, not.
That's slightly different. Yeah.
Right. It's not killing busy work, although it makes new work more efficient. I was able to take on new work because of the efficiency gains of the toolkit. I don't know. Do you have an answer for it? I'm kind of blanking on that.
On my end,
it's a good question.
I think I've had a very, as a developer, it is very explicitly useful. Here are tasks that need to get done, and AI can do those tasks. And so certain busy work, maybe I would quibble with the label of busy work, but what I would say is that
is writing code busy work, right?
Right, a ton of tasks. When I think of dev work, there is the type where you have to stop and actually think about what it is that you're trying to achieve, and you have to construct the way that you're going to achieve the goals that you have, versus we need you to upload a new image and change this color to that and move this thing 10 pixels to the right, and so on and so forth. And so in my mind, the way that I think, that stuff is busy work in the dev world. And so for me, AI has very much made that an easier process, and it's not fully automated, but it's way easier. So,
I'll revise my answer to trumpet that. You write a lot more code than I do these days. In some of the tool building I've been doing the last 6 months, 12 months, that iterative helper with a knowledge of Twig templates, if you're writing Twig templates, compared to Stack Overflow and the docs.
There are
Like,
dozens of you that still write Twig templates.
I mean, I'm not doing it right this minute, but for certain outputs with legacy tools, it writes it for me, and I learn and I move faster. And so I would say coding. I mean, we talked about that on either the podcast or one of these lives that we've done recently about like coding is such a pure, like the average consumer will get stuck on a brand. They'll develop brand loyalty. Like I have it with ChatGPT. Like I just kind of default to that for my go-to AI assistant guy, whatever. But for coding, if there's something that'll get you 10 or 15% better, people will switch. That is not like a brand loyal bunch, especially at this stage, this early stage of this. So we talk about Gemini 2.5. If that wins, that wins, you know?
I will say I agree model wise. Something that is a slightly larger lift to change would be maybe your IDE or something like that, right? Because I've been a Cursor fanboy since it dropped, and then there's been a lot of hate in the community lately. I still like it, but to admit, I've never played with Windsurf really, and
Yeah.
so I'm interested to see, especially if this new deal with OpenAI goes through, what that looks like. Also, just good for them that they started. I mean, I forget, hold on, let's see. Windsurf, I need wiki. Windsurf. I mean, how long have they been out? Well, they were formerly Codium.
That's right. That's right.
Never mind. All right, I forgot that they were formerly Codium. So they've been out. They've been out for a longer period of
Yeah.
time than that. Yeah. Anyways, whatever.
Yep.
3 billion for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
The new podcast dropped today, real quick, that you should listen to. I have not listened to it yet. It's the new Dwarkesh, and the title is AGI is still 30 years away, and there's two people that he's interviewing. So a sort of a different take than what's been going on, making the rounds lately. So that's
Contrarian
interesting.
take.
I don't know who the people are.
I was listening to. I think I told you I was listening to the YouTube channel AI Explained.
Yeah, totally.
Stumbled across that one in my recommendations this morning because I was looking for hot takes on O3 and O4 Mini. I was like, all right, what did people put out the day of the launch? Because we could do that too. Like maybe that's a good day of launch. Like let's spin it up and do something with it. Probably smart. But also just curious to listen more about in the space. And he said, and I don't know his name because do you know his name?
What's the YouTube channel?
AI Explained.
No, hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Go ahead. What did he say?
But he said Tyler Cowen says O3 is AGI. He said his.
Tyler just said that.
Is that?
Yeah, I saw that tweet.
He elaborates on it.
I mean, it's hold on, I'll pull it up actually.
Yeah, we did have a really amazing. I had an impressive, maybe not a light bulb moment, but just like a oh damn. I was helping my 14-year-old study for her AP history exam, and they had a really tough question that was about a chart, and it was a chart about the birth and death rates in Mexico and Sweden. So it had 4 different lines. They were very poorly differentiated, and it was from 1900 to 2000.
There it is.
And there were questions around what is the change in birth and death rates, and it's this SAT level question of one went up and one da 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 da. And we worked with it for a while. We had our answer. She got it right. I got it wrong. But I was like, let's just see if ChatGPT, because they said, Sam said O3 is really, really skilled at the image analysis. Like it seems like it punches above its weight for that. And so I was like, yeah, maybe I can give it this crappy graph, and it got it perfect, and it explained it to us, and it was like, damn, that is like,
that's cool.
That's there. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what Tyler says. I think it is AGI. Seriously, try asking it lots of questions and then ask yourself, how much smarter was I expecting AGI to be?
Yeah.
As I've argued in the past, AGI, however you define it, is not much of a social event per se. It will take us a long time to use it properly. I do not expect securities prices to move significantly. That AI is progressing rapidly already is priced in, and I doubt if the market cares about April 16th per se. Benchmarks, blah, blah, blah. Maybe AGI is like porn. I know it when I see it, and I've seen it. Cool.
Unfortunate
So
strung together phrase, but
that's tombstone worthy. Maybe AGI is like porn. I know it when I see it, and I've seen it.
could the
Which one?
AGI could the AGI jump from it to it to it and keep the thread of knowing what he's seen?
Hopefully.
Listen, so I'm more in this camp. Okay, my evolving thinking around AGI is much more.
Yeah.
It kicked me off.
Uh-oh. What
Oh,
happened?
there we go.
We're back?
There we go.
You froze for me. I don't know if it was you or me.
It was me. My
you were
internet
saying you
dropped.
were in that camp. You're in what camp?
I am more in the camp. My evolution of thinking about AGI, when I frame it subjectively, because objective definition, while a worthwhile exercise, is kind of an illusion. Like it's just a shared agreement on something, but like you have to kind of have a personal view of it yourself. When I think of like what will it be to talk to AGI, so many of the questions I ask don't have one right answer. And so many of the things I ask it to brainstorm are just like opinions and ideas. Will AGI give me smarter opinions and smarter ideas? Will AGI, like, I don't know, it's going to give me very similar responses to most of the queries I already make and responses I already get. And so I just have tried to say, like, what will it be like when that exists? And my definition doesn't have tool usage and autonomy and asynchronicity to it. I think we should like put our heads together and have kind of a show, an agreed upon definition, or adopt someone else's.
And we said that before. Whatever. Yeah, but we should have an agreed upon definition, and I think it's the split between AGI and ASI.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an important axis.
But, we should do that.
Does that like kind of resonate with you? Of like with how, I guess, if it writes good code for you, and then like will 10x smarter AI write 10x better code for you, right? As a single one-shot prompt. Like, I don't know.
It's less for me about 10x better code. Well, that's different. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but for me, I have shifted what I care about in the definition wars. I don't care about AGI as a definition. And I'm happy to go through the intellectual exercise that we're talking about of like,
it's just not where you think it's important. You don't find it to be the important axis.
I don't care about AGI. I care about what I consider to be ASI.
Yeah.
And to me, ASI is just, it's a super intelligent, well, I don't want to go through that. We're not doing it right now. We don't have time.
Yeah.
We've been through it, whatever. We'll sort of bumble through. But I care much more about ASI. I don't care about AGI so much as like definitionally. And if I had to state my opinion this moment right now, I would say that we do not have AGI. But I
think most people are in that camp,
Yeah,
and
sure.
like you said, the Dwarkesh,
and I'm a
30 years away.
Yeah. I'm a Tyler Cowen stan. I mean, he's super smart, big fan. So, whatever. All right. Question for you. Do you want to continue? We could keep chatting about sort of like recent stuff, or do you want to pop back into the creative stuff?
I think we let that rest another day or so. Only because I don't have another 30 minutes. Like probably
That's
got
cool.
another 5 or 10. But Yeah, I don't. Have you had any more thoughts on it? Wait. You said you were making a new spot. You were making
It's
something new.
yeah, it's launching today at 6 p.m.
Ooh, awesome!
It is.
Excited, excited to see
So
that.
that's it's called Little Sprout. Um,
Okay. Oh, you said for a plant company,
plant store,
plant
a
store.
plant company. I
Well,
like
I'm
the
thinking
idea of a
Mark,
plant
little plant
company.
things.
Yeah, little plant things.
Yeah.
Uh, um, Annoyingly, and this isn't really related to AI, but annoyingly, like my computer, well, CapCut just like died on me last night,
Yeah,
and
you
I
said
was in the
that.
middle of. So the reason that I'm doing this one is because we're gonna drop the like a full tutorial of
Hmm.
here's how if you want to think about creating an AI commercial, an AI ad, it's a full like watch the entire process and you can understand how we think of it and just so I'm creating this, and at the same time that I'm creating this I'm documenting the whole process. And so I
Hmm.
have my process of doing that is I have two OBS studios open. I'm recording me, I'm recording my screen, I have CapCut open on another screen, and then on my middle screen I have all the browser tabs open: ChatGPT, Midjourney, Kling, Runway, Suno, 11 Labs. Those are the
Hmm.
tools I think are all of the ones that I used. No, I don't want you to follow me, camera. um, and so
Oh yeah, my camera
I was
came in
doing the
too. I'm
whole
gonna
thing.
have that same problem.
Yeah, exactly. So I was doing the whole thing, and in the middle of it, uh, it just like something short circuited. And then
Yeah.
from that point on, CapCut crashed every single
Mm.
time I opened any project. And so part of my day today, annoyingly, was solving that issue. And
Yeah.
so I finally got that done. And so I needed to get that commercial done, and I finished it without documenting it, and so I'm gonna have to go back and like post hoc document the
Do
the
the
last
documentation.
10% or whatever that I didn't get to document. So whatever. So that's gonna be next Thursday. Today's the commercial. Next week is will be the tutorial of the whole process. Um,
Nice.
and you and I have, I mean, offline we'll chat about all of the upcoming content things.
Hmm.
Off the top of your head, I mean, you don't have to, but is there anything that you've been like thinking through that you are excited to create, drop, investigate, stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean the big one is the 10x your morning routine, and the
Oh, have you been
problem
working
I'm
on that?
having. So the problem I'm having with that, I didn't have the time I thought I would on Tuesday, so I didn't get
AI?
to focus there.
You
Yeah,
said
right.
AI didn't have the time to work
AI
on it.
didn't. Yeah. No. The other problem is it's not working as I intended to. I like it's not.
Interesting.
I think the idea is sound. There's a couple reasons why I think it's not working. One is I want to have it as a live voice conversation, and that just limits the largely the duration of the output. I kind of and I think it's my fault actually. I think I'm mixing what I want and expect to happen needs to evolve to match the medium here.
Yeah.
So a couple things. It's really hard to have a live conversation with AI that is substantive because you're speaking conversationally and you're on to the next point. And it's like, oh, it reminded me something, but it's three back and forths ago, and I've now lost that. It like you know what I mean? I kind of need it to persist, and I in my mind I have a visual of something like, oh, we're
Yeah.
gonna like talk about something that I'm able to see. That would be advantageous for me.
I have the the future that I want for something like this, I will
Okay.
say, definitely involves AR glasses.
Yeah.
Because imagine that conversation that you're having where you're talking back and forth to it, and there's a tiny little visual that you
Yeah.
can, with your hand, pop up and move that off to the side, right?
Hmm.
And now it's up here, and at any moment you can go up and tap that thing that's up off to the side, and it brings you back in the conversation, and it doesn't, or say, oh, remember
Totally.
this, remember this, remember this. And so I completely agree that the visual nature of this is super important, and it's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. It's coming, and it's kind of already here in. I don't need it to be in glasses, but I would love it.
Little bit.
Little sidebar. I think that's how the metaverse happens. I don't think we put on bulky headsets with, high def, photorealistic graphics. In fact, I don't even want that for the augmented reality piece. What I want is the extremely unintrusive glasses that have a real-time audio connection to my AI assistant, right? That I can talk to just however I want, and it can talk back to me. And I think it's plenty to have a very low res visual feature set, meaning like maybe it's just one color. Maybe it's as simple as 3 lights of green, orange, and red or something. Like, I'm not saying that's the
computer.
Listen, I'm not saying that's the end all be all. I'm saying you could build this today. You don't need to solve the what is John Carmichael. Am I getting his name right? Of Meta developer fame now. It wasn't with. All right, hold on. I gotta look this up. John Carmichael, I think. No. Why am I completely blanking on his name? The guy that's a big VR guy. Works for Meta. You know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about what's his face?
I'm completely blanking. Anyway, that guy, good friend, old what's his name, said we're like 6 inventions away from perfect virtual reality and augmented reality. And then like he came back a year later and was like, oh, we're 5 inventions away. We got one down. But you could build an extremely practical, pragmatic, useful device with audio and low-res visual today, I believe. And I'm excited for that. And then, yeah, of course, I want the full computer. But the other thing about using the live text is it's just a shorter output. Like today, state-of-the-art models can output a ton of content. And when you're doing these live chats, it's just they endeavor to be very conversational. And so I say, let's start my day, which is my trigger to start this whole routine. And it gives me a very watered down summary of all the things. And I want it to be structured and more thorough. And I just don't think that's going to happen with the speech, the live text or the live chat.
Well, what about, I mean, how much effort have you put into telling it what you want?
I mean, it feels like plenty.
I mean, what I imagine is this, like, I would talk to it and say, I want to do this every morning, and I'm going to ask you this thing, and I want for us to discuss what you're going to give me every morning. And then it comes back to you, and you say, no, that's not quite right. I actually want this and this and that, but these 4 things are great. And then it says, okay, I'm going to give you these things, and you say, yes, this is the type of structure that I want every morning. Now remember this when we talk about it each morning. Have you done that kind of thing?
Not quite that explicitly. I've critiqued its output and told it in looser terms than the way you just did. I agree. That's a good next step. And I've tried to do it.
Try that and see if that persists for, I mean, even a day or like a week, you know?
Yeah. And some of what, as I've been trying it, it's like how much, because I know I was the very excited for the memory. I mean, a lot of people are very excited, but I was a 10 out of 10 excited. I'm still trying to figure out if explicit memory has an important role, right? Like, because you can tell it to remember something, but then they say, yeah, but you don't have to because it remembers everything. And it's like, okay, well, are there 2 classes of memory? Is it short-term and long-term? Is it a different model we need to be thinking? But I will say, like, just from chat memory, I've already found a bunch of gaps in things. I mean, just the first example we did on the podcast was like, it didn't get a detail from the last one. Now, this takes me back to AGI. I said, upcoming recent trip. You know, if I had talked to a human being yesterday and I said, hey, give me some ideas for my upcoming recent trip, it's very reasonable that the human being would be like, oh, where are you going? And I would say, don't you remember we talked about it yesterday? And they would say, oh yeah, I do remember. That's right, Colorado. And you know what I mean? It's like, does superintelligence answer that question better? Or
Yes.
but okay.
Superintelligence. You just said superintelligence. The answer is yes. My definition of superintelligence is that superintelligence
Maybe that's triggering for
has it
your,
all.
maybe it's the idea that superintelligence gets it right every time. It's like, if I grunt into my phone, should it know what I mean? This is what I mean is like the interpretability of like opinion questions.
But a super intelligence that you had a conversation with, that you said you told you were going to Denver, will have the right answer for you. Not the right answer as in this is the objectively correct restaurant you should go to. Super intelligence doesn't change the nature of reality. Reality still is what it is. There is subjectivity, there is objectivity. And so the things that are subjective, it doesn't shift subjective things into the category of objective. So the movie you
but
should
I could have
see,
meant
the
any
restaurant,
trip. I could have meant any trip, and it could have guessed wrong, right?
Well, here's the thing. If you're the type of person who has multiple trips coming up and it knows that you have multiple trips coming up, or even if it doesn't know explicitly what trips you have coming up, but knows you're the type of person that has multiple trips coming up, the right answer is, well, which trip is that? The second, if you are not that type of person and you just had a conversation about Denver, then the right answer is, okay, so in Denver, it's blah, 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 blah. And so that's what I mean. Superintelligence will absolutely get that right every single time. And not that the restaurant is right, but here are great restaurants I think you'll like.
Yeah, I do put so much of the onus on the prompting because, like, it's just an expectation guessing game. It's trying to predict what you want, and that's the personalization stuff that's being unlocked right now. Like, take the next word prediction, and it's like next behavior prediction, and so that guessing kind of scales out. But so yeah, that's content that I'm really interested in pursuing. I don't have enough answers. My first thought when we had talked about this is like I almost want to like go live in the mornings just to get the reps in of like talking through it, like show it, fail. I don't really expect anyone else to care to watch that, but as a compilation building to something that eventually is content, I think that could be good. Just a montage of me cussing. I was listening to
AI.
There you go. I'm very excited about the survey panel tooling, which I'd like to. I'm going to make some changes tomorrow on my day off of work. I'm going to put some work in on that, and excited to expand that group that you're part of with kind of the improvements that we've talked about, and I've got some other ideas, and so I'd probably like to ask some viewers to sign up for that next week. So we'll talk about the website. But I'm gonna put it into our.
I'm looking at our viewers right now at 0. All of you join next week, please. Join we won't tell you the name yet, but the hint is LG. Don't sue us.
Life's good. Yeah, so there's that piece and content around that, and then I was listening to the Eisenberg and Patty, whatever his name is,
Galloway. Oh yeah,
Patty Galloway.
He worked with Mr. Beast and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm about 25 minutes in. I think it's really interesting, and it makes me pull my skills from other domains. It's like, oh, okay, that's a skill from this domain if you view it this way. I like how they talk about it as packaging, like the wrapper around the content. And I really thought that his example, Patty Galloway's example of Mr. Beast putting like a gold jet is like, okay, he's going to have a video called like a $1 flight and the most expensive flight in the world or whatever. He's better at that anyway.
Right.
But in the thumbnail, he puts a solid gold jet, and there is no solid gold jet in the video.
Right.
And that is okay. And this comes back to my like, clickbait's only bad if you don't pay off the cliffhanger. If you pay off the cliffhanger of whatever it took to get the user there, and they feel like it was worth their time, then that's not black hat clickbait. That's white hat clickbait. And so I don't know, not that we're like trying to. And I also really like the analogy of like bets. Like I use bets. I use the poker chip analogy on media all the time. It's like, cool, we have
Yeah.
audience targeting. We're going to put a poker chip here and a poker chip there. I probably say it. A year ago, I said it 5 times a week. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know, just I really like the content, and I think it'll be
Sure.
helpful, and I think it'll help us position our content to be more helpful for other people, which is one of the major goals.
That's the
of this.
goal.
So,
And
yeah.
I completely agree about the clickbait, and especially thinking about it more explicitly right now with this type of content that we're creating. Um, Clickbait is a word that describes, like, clickbait is just one way to describe something like a concept. And clickbait comes with the negative connotation. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get attention. And getting attention is not inherently good or bad. Getting attention is simply getting attention. And the way that you get attention is, I mean, you can do you could do bad things, you could do good things, you could do neutral things, whatever,
It's fun to do
to
bad
get
things with your
attention.
friends.
There you go. I like the way that you frame it. It's about the payoff. It's about, okay, I've gotten your attention. Did I lie to you and trick you into getting into whatever I wanted to get you into, and then now you're just like disappointed, or you've wasted time, or you're dumber for having watched it, or whatever. That
Right.
sucks. Don't do that. And so it's almost like I don't even want to say clickbait. It's what's
Yeah.
the less charged phrase or word for clickbait? Do you have like a word for that or a thought?
I mean, it's an advertisement, It's an
Yeah.
ad. It's a
But
at
it's
the
not
end
an
of the
ad,
day.
right? Like the clickbait, right, is the title, a YouTube title.
Yeah.
You can say,
Well,
you know,
packaging, right? Packaging
packaging.
is
Yeah,
how they're
packaging.
thinking of it, and I think that's solid because it is.
I like it.
It's if you were going to sell a physical product, you wouldn't say, "Oh, the packaging doesn't matter," right? Anybody who's
Yeah,
doing CPG work or
yeah,
anything in retail, that you've got to someone has to pick it up off the shelf or pick it out of Amazon before. Amazon thumbnails is actually a really good space. We spent a lot of time. We worked in 2023.
2, 3.
We did a
Yeah, we
ton of
did
Amazon work, and it
Amazon
really
stuff
is.
there.
It comes down to A+ content. It comes down to SEO. It comes down to all these other
Yeah.
disciplines, and so
Yep.
that's just very true. And I did also love. I know we're not making a YouTube podcast, but we are live on YouTube, and we're
Sure.
using YouTube as
I
our.
mean, we're trying to make a YouTube channel where
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
And so the idea that it's like the attention bets and the affinity bets. I liked that
I love
model
that
a lot too.
distinction. I actually
Yeah.
really like that distinction too. I think that makes a lot of sense.
In social
The
media,
percentages are interesting, but
James Andrews, who loved working with the guy, fairly divisive dude, but James Andrews is a social media guy. I don't know. Maybe we'll get him on the pod at some point. He used to talk about social media as like a TV show and a commercial. Like you pick your modality and mold it to that, but like you can't have 90% commercials and 10% show. You got to be
right,
providing value for the audience. And so when they said like, yeah, 5 for the audience and 1 for me, I'm going to make a passion video that is for me because I like it. I wanted to bring it to
right.
life. That is not the same thing as starting as planning for the audience and what's valuable to them. And so I think that's all very important for us to internalize and manifest and whatnot.
Totally. All right.
Cool,
Well,
man.
actually, I think that's a good time to stop unless you want to dig into anything else here.
No, that's what I got. We got to get ready. We're taking our mom on a date.
That
Not
is
a
true.
date, but like
Going
we're
out to
taking
dinner.
mom out to dinner. So,
Um,
uh,
and you're not picking us up, is that right?
no, I'm going to meet you there because I've got to pick someone up from a school dance afterwards.
Oh, it's a school
So,
dance. Oh, shoot. Okay. All right.
So we're
Cool.
gonna drive separately. But
All right.
awesome.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you for all of the people I see that aren't currently watching, but hey, this is going to be on YouTube. I'm sure there are many of you that will dig through the archives once our channel is massive and big and famous. And to you, I say thank you for watching this. You're
Wah, wah,
amazing. We love
wah.
you. Like, subscribe, share, go to notreplaceyet.ai, sign up for the email list. And that's all for today.
Peace out.